What is going on, everyone? Griffin here, coming at you with some Switchblade gameplay, and today we are going to be talking about the Rogue Company servers. What's going on with the servers, guys? Let's head over and let's talk about it. So for those of you that are not in the know, East Coast servers are currently terrible, and they've been terrible for over a month now, maybe longer at this point. They've been very bad, and it's constant network disconnects. It's constant lag outs until someone leaves the game or someone disconnects from the game. It's just consistent badness that is happening within Rogue Company currently. So, of course, I took it upon myself to do a little bit of a test to try to figure out exactly what's going on, because from a lot of the conversations that I've seen online, there's a lot of people that are saying that West Coast aren't that bad, that European servers aren't that bad, that pretty much any other server except for East Coast is running like Rogue Company servers, which are not good to begin with. Let's just be honest with one another. They're not good to begin with. So I did a little investigation, right? Got on there, I queued a West Coast match. West Coast match went about as well as you would imagine. Of course, it didn't run phenomenally because I'm in an East Coast area. So there was some latency there, that I had to deal with. But for the most part, it ran pretty well. Then I switched over to Brazil. Whenever I played on the Brazilian servers, they acted pretty much identically to the East Coast servers. And same thing with LATAM. I queued in the LATAM region, and same thing was happening there. Tried to queue in Europe, but it wouldn't allow me to find a match. I'm assuming because of what time it was here, that there wasn't a lot of people playing, and after about 3 or 4 minutes, I just kind of gave up and went back to East Coast. So what I have found during my investigation of the Rogue Company servers is that LATAM and Brazil servers are migrating to East Coast servers. So for anybody that's queuing in East Coast, LATAM, or Brazil, are all experiencing pretty much the same issues, at least from my experience queuing in those regions. And the reason why is because they are migrating. So there's a lot of people that I played against in the Brazil region and also in the LATAM region that I consistently come across in the East Coast server region. So the servers are migrating from Brazil to LATAM to East Coast, and I don't know if that has anything to do with the server issues that are currently happening. I passed that information along to the developers. They're trying to figure it out. I don't know how much time and work that they're actually putting into trying to figure out the full extent of this. But I did pass that information along, and it may have something to do with the servers migrating, because whenever Europe had a similar issue, European servers had a similar issue, they were migrating from Europe to the East Coast to try to find matches faster in more heavily populated areas. And they cut off the server migration, and once they cut the server migration off, then the European servers somewhat, steadied themselves out. Now, a lot of the issues that they were having, of course, was not as much, server disconnects and things like that, but just having to deal with super high latency. But there was a lot of instances where there were, disconnection, network disconnect, matches lagging out, being inconsistent all the way around. So I don't know if the server migration from Brazil, LATAM to East Coast is what's causing the issue, but at the end of the day, it's not a fun experience, right? The game is already on life support at this point. I mean, at least from all of our the community's perspective, right? We're not getting updates, we're not getting new characters, we're not getting new maps, we're not getting new battle passes, new event passes. It's been almost 6 months since our last battle pass was officially released. Like, we're not getting any love, and therefore a lot of the people that are playing the game are just moving on to other things. Not to mention that whenever this video drops, X Defiant will be out, and X Defiant will probably kill the majority of the remaining player base that Rogue Company has. I mean, to me, the number one thing that the developers need to do is figure out what the server issues is, fix those server issues, and then start putting content into the game and start trying to at least retain the small player base that you have at this point. I don't think that that's going to happen. I'm not 100% certain if that's going to happen. I assume that at some point in the future we'll get some type of an update from the developers, but it's been a very long time since the last balance update came out at this point. It just doesn't look good, and it's just not, it's not a good look for the game. With high res overall, if this was happening to Smite or even to Paladins at this point, the server issues would have already been taken care of. That the developers and the people in charge over at high res would have done everything in their power to try to fix the issues that are happening in the game that are causing a, you know, disruption in service and a disruption in experience and play. And that's not happening with Rogue Company, and I don't understand why. Like, you took one of the most interesting and unique games that you've ever made, and you've basically stripped it down into this pile of nothingness that honestly at this point could be salvaged if the developers actually gave two shits about the game. But here we are. So hopefully the server issues will be fixed sooner rather than later. Honestly, they're not going to be fixed by the time this video drops and by the time the X Defiant releases. And I'm very interested to watch the player population as X Defiant drops and as people start playing that game, because I think it really will, you know, pretty much kill off the majority of the reoccurring players that they do have. But be sure to let me know what you think in the comments. Also, just so everybody is aware, and I may actually cut this out and put this at the front section, if you are experiencing bad matches, please take a snapshot or a screenshot of the match IDs and drop them in the Discord. The link will be in the description down below. That way, and put, you know, East Coast server or what server you're queuing in, whether it be East, Central, or LATAM, Brazil, you know, wherever. And then also what game mode that you were playing whenever you experience this problem. And I'll take all that information, I'll send it over to the developers, and hopefully that will at least maybe get them to fix it a little bit faster. But, you know, but if you haven't already, please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. If you've already subscribed to the channel, then consider hitting that join button to become one of the 256 crew members. Lastly, on Thursdays and also on Sundays, I will be streaming here on YouTube. So if you are interested and available, please feel free to stop by and say hello there. Thanks for watching, guys.